Today, we're at beautiful Trails and Camp in Beach Lake, Pennsylvania. And we're talking about 7 things that course operators can do right now to prepare for a successful summer season. And that starts right now. Hello everyone, Don Stock here with another Challenge Course Pro Tip powered by the Adventure Guild, where it's our goal to help you build a better, safer, and more professional Challenge Course program. Now, as winter staggers towards its end and the first signs of spring start to emerge, it's the perfect time to get a jump start on the upcoming aerial adventure season. Even in regions where it's possible to operate year-round, it's a really great idea to hit pause for a short time in the late winter or early spring in order to do a full reset and to prepare well for the busy season that's ahead. Now is the time to evaluate literally everything and to really make sure that all the things that you've been doing are the things you want to continue to do. It's also the perfect time to make adjustments to your operations and to implement those cool ideas and sometimes overdue changes that you've been thinking about for your program. Now, as you enter that process, giving attention to the following 7 things will go a long way towards preparing you to have a successful and less stressful summer season. So let's jump in. And the very first thing at the top of our list is determining your approach to COVID. Now, I know I am not alone when I say I am completely over everything related to this virus. However, over it or not, it's a reality that we have to address and we have to take seriously for at least a little longer. If predictions are accurate, it's going to be with us at least through summer, so we might just as well embrace the reality, move forward, looking forward to better days, while also making solid plans for getting through this high season in a way that protects our staff and protects our patrons as much as we possibly can. And we're tackling this one first because decisions regarding your COVID procedures will likely impact multiple areas of your operation. So sorting out the who, when, how, and what of your COVID plan is on the front end of everything that we're going to do, and it really is a wise first step. Now, to that end, here are a few things to consider regarding this process. First, it's important to follow federal, state, and local requirements when making your COVID plan. Now, if you didn't operate in 2020, or if you've been closed for the winter season, it really is important to investigate the current requirements for your area. Depending upon your location, requirements could be looser or they might be stricter than when you first dealt with these. Now, these requirements could impact your capacity and etc., which could necessitate program or staffing changes. So knowing this on the front end will be really invaluable as you plan for this upcoming season. I also suggest researching the most recent industry information about best practices and common procedures related to COVID for our industry. Now, at the beginning of the pandemic, many organizations, including the Alliance Collaborative and the Associations for Challenge Course Technology, scrambled to put together some kind of recommendations for dealing with COVID in an aerial adventure and challenge course context. And those recommendations were based on the best information that we all had at the time, which admittedly was not much. Now, over the course of the past year, together we've learned a bit more about the virus and about what's important and maybe not quite so important to help curtail the spread. So it's a good idea to avail yourself of the most up-to-date information. Now, you should be able to find updated resources by reaching out to both the Alliance Collaborative and to the ACCT. Both have COVID resources available on their website, and the document that the Alliance put together last year has been fully updated to reflect the new things that we've learned. Links to both of those resources are in the description, so avail yourself of that information. And the last tip related to COVID is to remember to order the anticipated supplies that you're going to need now. There haven't been a lot of delays and shortages in COVID-related materials for quite a while, but that doesn't mean we won't face them as weather warms up and many organizations spool up for their summer operations. So it's possible that we could see other shortages or delays in delivery. And my mantra always is, I'd rather be looking at it than looking for it. So avoid the stress of not having what you need and go ahead and order that and get it on its way. Might as well be sitting on the shelf waiting for you. The second big thing that I recommend that you do to prepare for a successful season is to prepare all of your courses, whether it's 1, 2, 3, or a whole adventure park. Late winter and early spring is the time to get your courses ready for your professional or your permit inspections. It's time for scheduling needed repairs and additions and verifying the permit renewal dates, your inspection dates, and all of those things that you're going to need. And don't forget those special inspections, such as those conducted by an arborist for your trees or an engineer that may be required for your operational permit. Wherever you're located, you'll need to check your local requirements. Now, if you're opening for the first time in 2021, or for some reason you just don't know what inspections you may need, I invite you to check out our video, What Challenge Course Inspections Do I Need? From Challenge Course Pro Tip. It's linked up top right now and also, of course, in the description. Finally, if you rely on a third party for your course repairs, be sure to confirm with your service provider as early as possible in the season so that they have your work on their repair radar. Because all reputable challenge course providers get extremely busy in the spring, so it's important to get on their schedule as soon as possible. So number 3, next thing is to prepare your gear and equipment. Now, if you didn't thoroughly go through your gear and equipment at the end of your season last year, it's important to do so now. Not only will it be helpful to your inspector, and here's a little hint, inspectors do not appreciate trying to inspect equipment that is not logged, that is haphazardly stored, that is scattered everywhere, or isn't taken care of. But also going through and preparing your gear will alert you to any gear replacement that you have to do ahead of the summer season. Like so many other vendors, gear suppliers get inundated with orders in the spring. So the sooner that you can get your order in, the less likely it is that you'll have to deal with the stress of equipment back orders when it's time for the big crowds. Now here's a bonus tip. When going through your gear and equipment, don't neglect the non-course side of your operations. Take the time to verify that things like your card readers, your cash drawers, your photo printers, your photo systems, your tablets, your computers are all in good working order and ready for the big numbers that are coming your way, whether you're a commercial operation or a camp. Have the desktop computers that you use for ticketing or sales or something related to your course been cluttered with random files on the desktop? Was there a software or printer driver glitch that frustrated and hindered your smooth operations last season? If so, now is the time to sort those files, clean off that desktop, and exercise those gremlins from your systems. Check your radios, buy batteries, verify your glow stick supply, and then order and restock all of your merchandise while you have a little time to sort all that out. I recommend that you look at every aspect of your operations and consider what you'll wish you had done when July rolls around, and go ahead and do that now. Number 4, prepare your greater facilities. You see, what's true of your course and your general operations is also true of your greater facilities. Things like trails, decks, bathrooms, parking areas, vehicles, food service areas, merchandise sales areas, etc., etc. They all need eyes on them to make sure that there isn't something important that needs to be done, and to do it while there's time to get it done. Take a thorough walk around, make notes, make a list, and then put those items on the calendar to do while you've got some extra time. And number 5, review your course paperwork. Course paperwork and documentation are very important parts of your program, and yet I find they're often overlooked and under-maintained. Things like daily setup and teardown checklist, course and equipment logs, maintenance logs, operations manuals, employee manuals, near-miss and incident reporting forms, things like your COVID procedures should be reviewed in a team meeting before the busy season kicks off. And the team doing this review should include things like company leadership, your course manager, and any staff and guides who are available. Reviewing with this diverse group will help ensure that a broad spectrum of daily operations experience is represented and important issues and perspectives don't fall through the cracks. Those different groups often have a very different understanding and different experience regarding the various aspects of daily operations, and getting input from guides and facilitators can be particularly insightful and helpful since they are on the front lines of contact with participants, campers, and staff and program delivery. You should review all the documents and discuss any discrepancies or inconsistencies in reporting. If the form layout of the current way of inputting information needs to be changed, now's the time to get feedback and to make those changes. Maybe a move to digital record keeping rather than using paper forms is in order. Now, if that's the case, now is the time to make that adjustment and allow the early season staff to test drive that new system before the madness of high summer. Number 6, plan for staffing. Like virtually everything else in the past 12 months, COVID turned staff acquisition on its head and made many traditional avenues for recruiting staff unreliable. As a company, we serve camps and retreat centers all over the U.S. And the issue that many of these folks faced in 2020 was the inability for international students to travel to the U.S., which is a serious roadblock to operations when you draw 85% of your staff from outside the U.S. Now, COVID has disrupted many college schedules and rearranged a lot of folks' priorities and availability. So it's really wise to spend some time investigating the traditional staff recruitment avenues that you've historically used to verify that they're still viable, and then to investigate other options if you find out that they're not. Now, one source for potential staff, and particularly for commercial operations, that you may not have considered is that of your local climbing gym. There are folks there that likely have some existing skill overlap, and usually the issue of being at height and being comfortable at height is already sorted out. Now, you'll of course have to do program-specific training, and of course not everyone will be a fit, but that connection could mean the difference between a full staff and a lean one come high summer. And finally, number 7, now is the time to nail down your PR and marketing plan for the year and to get a handle on what that schedule and budget is going to look like. In many tourist locations, major attraction publications like coupon books, hotel coffee table books, attractions magazines, etc. are only published every couple months and some only once a year. So knowing what those dates are and what the lead times are for getting your ad in your preferred advertising vehicle is really, really important. Since if you miss that deadline, you could miss a whole quarter or maybe even a whole year of advertising opportunities. I mean, are you planning on an expansion of your course? Are you planning on incorporating a new aspect to your attraction or your operation? And if so, get that information together and make sure it gets into the hands of all the relevant periodicals, the papers, the local attractions websites, as well as TV and radio stations with enough time for it to make it into their flow and make it onto their radar. And lastly, think through your website and social media marketing plan, including what kinds of promotions that you might want to do around things like holidays or special events. And then go ahead and work on those graphics and video projects during the slower months of the year to make those crazy days of summer just a little less crazy. So there you go, 7 things you can do now that will go a long way towards helping make the upcoming season as productive, safe, and low stress as possible. And if you take the time to work on these things now, tackle them, knock them off the list, you will thank yourself in July, I promise. If you have any questions about any of these tips for opening or other challenge course related topics, please leave them in the comments. We'll answer them there, or you can contact us at challengecoursepros.com. Now, if you have found this helpful, hop on over to challengecourseprotips.com to sign up to be a Challenge Course Pro Tips Insider. And you'll get access to new Pro Tips content as well as exclusive resources made just for our insiders. Now, I hope you have a fantastic day. I'm Don Stock, and I'll see you next time.